I don't know if you know this, but today is leg day for Blue. Yes, today we're going to be having a look at the Mattel Jurassic World Rip and Run Dinos. This is Velociraptor Blue. So how big is Rip and Run Dinos Velociraptor Blue? Let's take the tape measure. That's how we know. Tape measure from the tail to the tape measure of the front of its nose, you're looking at 9 inches in length. And while we're at it, let's take the tape measure from the bottom to the top of its head, you're looking at about 4.5 inches. And it seems to be an ongoing trend here when we have a look at Velociraptor Blue, that we have to bring in other comparisons and other releases of Velociraptor Blue. So let's go ahead and do that now. So here we have Rip and Run Dinos Blue, which we will look at in a second. Don't worry, don't worry. Here we have the Attack Pack Blue. I've collected quite a bit of these, actually. Here is Blue that came with Owen. And lastly, here is the Battle Damaged Blue. Now, if all of these, or at the very least these three, seem unfamiliar because you haven't watched the videos of those, go check them out. Actually, there's a playlist on this channel called Jurassic World or Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. You can go in and have a look at all the Blues that have done up to this point, leading up to here, the Rip and Run version of Blue. We will likely bring in a couple more of those again just for comparisons, because I wanted to kind of see if there's any of these that have been reused for Blue. And looking at them, this one here does definitely have a bigger head, so I can't say whether if any of the component pieces, of course, some of them will vary. This one has a lot more posability than obviously this one right here. This one definitely doesn't have the same head sculpt. We look at the Attack Pack version, it's a little bit smaller. This one's got a lot more detailing on its head. And of course it has the open mouth. And the one I thought it was going to be a carryover from was perhaps the one that came with Owen. And actually that's not the case either. Whereas this one has distinct bone structures here, giving you a slight dip up around where the area of the eye starts. This one clearly has a much more rounder shape. So really none of them, although, you know, again, they do seem similar enough, none of them share any similarities with one another. At the very least, maybe the arms. Like, the arms here do look like they're very familiar to me. So I'm thinking that maybe the one that came with Owen here does have the same arms. Yes, it does seem as if they might have the same arms sharing the two. Sadly, for the fact that it does have a rolling feature, there's a little wheel underneath, and it has a pretty cool gimmick, I have to admit, when we start looking at the legs. Its posability is extremely, extremely limited. The arms move back and forth, and to some extent... Oh! Okay! Okay, just take my purse and leave, please. Blue's arms do move back and forth. I mean, her arms are a little on the softer variety, but you only get really a hinge. That's about all that's happening. Her head has 0 posability. You can't move the head. Can't even open the mouth. I would hope that maybe the mouth could have opened up, but that's not the case. The legs do have a considerable amount of posability, and nothing in the tail. The tail is a very soft plastic, very similar to the arms. The arms are probably the softest of the batch. To the credit of this, while looking at it and maybe dismissing it as a toy because you're thinking to yourself, well, this one's just intended to zip across the floor. Why would I even want to invest in something like this? There's merits to be made for the fact that it is very detailed. Almost much more detailed than some of the other Blues, as you probably have saw in the comparisons here. It's a very, very nicely detailed looking dinosaur. Again, a lot more scales than I was expecting. The blue markings here are very clear, very sharply detailed, very sharply painted. And the tail, to the credit of the tail, the blue runs to almost the full end of the tail. It kind of stops here, but you get a little bit more than what you've also got in the other varieties as well. No, 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 the dinosaur is not removable. If you were wondering you could take it off, that's not the case. It does come with the same zip line that we got with Owen, which has the embossed Jurassic Park logo on both sides. A very just basic gray plastic, and yes, it did come with that little clamp, which I don't know where, I'm not sure where I put it, but the clamp did attach the two together, so I just unclamped that, and you've got a free zip tie that you can do with whatever you want. Before we talk about that though, actually, you know what? We'll talk about this moving first, because I'm going to connect it to Owen. I'll show you how that kind of makes it much cooler when you get the two together. But the legs, if I can just spin the wheel, make the deal. The legs have a clever way of rotating as if it's actually running when you spin the wheel. It's got a very natural looking flow to it. It looks legitimately like it's running, shy for of course for the fact that it looks like it's sitting on top of an exercise bike. It does have the little support wheels on the back, but unlike Owen's, who could fold in kind of like a quasi kickstand, Blue here on the other hand is permanent, so like you can't move this at all. So there are these little connector points on either side. Blue does come with hers, but I'm just going to use Owen's because you really only need one of them anyways. Here's Owen, which we've already looked at, and here's the connector point that came with Owen. Now, like Owen, on either side of the motorcycle, I can't believe I put the zip line in there. The zip line goes at the back, but on either end there are ports that you can put the connector point there, or you can put the connector point there. Blue has the exact same thing happening. The back of the packaging doesn't seem to advertise any other dinosaur other than Blue here. Blue and Owen. So I don't know if maybe they are going to release another one, or what you can always do is you can buy really essentially two Blues and just attach her on either side of Owen. So figure out which way you want to have it attached and simply just connect the connector point like that and then connect it to Owen's bike like that. It's not the most secure connection. It does get a little floppy moppy, but I guess they do it so that if one of them is going up onto an incline, it's not going to disrupt either one of them. They should still be able to move together fairly well, actually. But looking at it, I mean, from that scene where he's racing with the raptors, it definitely seems missing something over here. So I might consider maybe getting another Blue and put Blue on the other side there as well, even though, you know, again, you'll have two Blues, but still. And as you could probably guess it, there's enough clearance that you can move the two and Blue's legs will still move perfectly fine. Again, the zip line is, I suppose, necessary if you want to get a good, you know, speed run from it. But at the very least, I don't think necessarily it needs it. I mean, it's simply just a case you could just rev it up and it would be able to zip across the floor as well. But let's say you want to use the zip line. Whereabouts do you plug it in? Because on this side, it doesn't look like she has it. Well, it's actually right. Let me move Owen a little bit out of the way and let the light hit this just right. The zip line is located right in there. Now you may say, well, you've plugged it in onto the wrong side. Technically, you can still get the zip line fit in there, despite for the fact that Blue and Owen are connected on this side. If you want a more quicker route, of course, you may want to connect Blue on that side. But it will still zip, and you can still have the legs moving. Just so you want to see how it looks like on the other side, we'll go ahead and pull the tab out there. Connect it on this side, and connect it on this side. And, you know, it benefits from the fact that you could plug it in on either side. So if you want to have a more direct way of zipping through, take your zip line, run it through, and it runs right there. Now you can see a little bit clearer. There's that little spot next to the opening there. And the zip line just fits through there. There we go. And when I pull it, you'll probably see a much faster leg running here with Blue than me just simply rolling the wheel. We'll pull it out. And there's a very, very fast raptor zipping across the floor. Whether you have the Rip and Roar Velociraptor Blue attached to Owen, or you keep her on her own. I think she's a neat looking release of Blue, and actually, funny enough, she's one of the more detailed versions of Blue that we've gotten over the 4 releases or so, factoring in the attack pack, the one that came with Blue, or one that came with Owen, I should say, and the one that was battle damaged. This one looks, I think, the more realistic way. It's unfortunate that she just has all that under kibble of the motor wheel. Don't rule this one out in its entirety, though, because I think it's fun to see the legs moving on the Raptor as it zips across the floor. This one, again, could be on its own, or you could attach it to Owen, although I do feel if you attach it to Owen, there's definitely that emptiness on the other side that may want to entertain the idea of getting a second one of them, so you could attach on either side and recreate that scene in which Owen's zipping through with his motorcycle and the Raptors are running on either side. If I was to be displaying it attached to the motorcycle, I should say, I probably will get a second one. If I'm keeping it on its own, I think she holds up well as a really neat rendition of Blue, despite for the fact that she is working on her legs right now and she's on the exercise wheel. Both the Rip and Run Dinos Velociraptor Blue and the previously looked at Owen and Motorcycle are currently available in toy stores and retail stores should you wish to pick them up for yourself. If you've managed to pick up either one of these, let me know in the comments section what you think of them. We're going to be doing some more Jurassic World toy reviews. Yeah, I know, we're going to be doing a lot more leading up to the release of Jurassic World to theaters. If you guys want to also go back and have a look at the previously looked at ones that I've done so far leading up to this point, you can check out my Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom reviews, the playlist on this channel, to see anything that you may have missed along the way. Speaking of missing along the way, make sure you also head over to my homepage and just kind of scroll down the video section. This is what I've mentioned in previous videos now too. Make sure you scroll down the video section to see if there's any videos that you may have missed along the way. Apparently hitting the bell notification, from what I'm now learning, still doesn't guarantee you that you're going to be able to see every single video that I've posted. So the best advice I can make now is head over to my main list, my main channel, and when you're finished, and have a look at any videos that you may have missed along the way. We're going to be, like I said, doing some more dino reviews. We're going to have some other reviews coming your way as well, guys, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.